Hello everyone, this is a daily forecast on Eurodollar. Today is September 21st. This video is brought to you by Finteria Markets. Please check our website for more information about the company, tools, and services that we offer. As usual, I'm going to start with winners and losers. So this tool helps you see the strongest and the weakest currencies across different time frames. And here we can see the situation over the last 24 hours, a strong outperformance of the Australian dollar. So it gained 0.37%, while the British pound lost 0.43%. So the situation is very mixed. We can see some safe haven currencies like the Japanese yen, the Swiss franc, they performed quite well, while the US dollar actually lost. So I will try to make sense out of this picture. In my opinion, the main reason behind the strong Australian dollar is the rebound in the stock markets. If we will look at the S&P index, yesterday it fell 2%, but then we had a really strong rebound, maybe around 1%. This was mainly related to fears in China, especially around the property real estate companies like Evergrande. So, however, yesterday we saw a sharp increase in the price at the end of the US session. And as you know, the Australian dollar acts as a proxy for China, and especially for it's a risky asset. So that's why we saw some weakness in the beginning of the Asian session and in the beginning of the European session, but then we saw a really strong rebound. So probably the markets will continue performing very strong. We may see further appreciation of the Australian dollar. At the same time, we can see the British pound is at the other end of this tool. It was the weakest currency, and sometimes when such movements happen, it's always the best just to ask the question, what's happening in the markets, what is behind this move. And actually, there was no much information on the Forex websites, but if you would check Telegraph or the Guardian, BBC, you could find a lot of articles about energy crisis in UK. So there are many concerns that actually the consumer consumption can shrink because of rising oil prices. And yesterday we had further concerns that some of energy firms are going to bankrupt. I think there are already like 4 companies which are about to bankrupt. And yesterday there was another announcement. And I think it just increased the fears around the British economy in general, that shifted the sentiment that you know, it can actually shrink the country's GDP if the energy prices continue to rise. So I'll put a link in the description of the video. You can read the article. I think this one from CNBC is really good one. It describes the situation in UK, and actually there are 22 million households that are very dependent on gas. And yeah, there's some interesting situation occurring right now, because I think that the market is slowly losing the confidence that the Bank of England can be really hawkish. And the same situation is actually happening on the US dollar, because I saw on FinTweet few comments that probably the Fed is not going to be very hawkish, taking into account the situation around fears around China and Evergrande. So probably the Fed is not going to step up with really hawkish commentary on Wednesday. So probably this also explains why the US dollar was weaker yesterday. So, and that's why we actually have this kind of really mixed situation in the markets. Well, when you have this type of situations, it's always like to try to step aside and look at what's happening, and also like try to zoom out and see the larger tendencies and trends. So in this case, we can have a look at the weekly charts. We can see, first of all, that the Japanese yen is still one of the outperformer, gaining over 1%. The US dollar actually lost some ground. It was at equal foot with the Japanese yen, but Today it's actually the second currency. And here we can also see that the British pound became the weakest currency so far, and actually it still looks vulnerable. Especially if we will look at the charts, we see actually some weakness behind the British pound. So given all this information, let's first of all have a quick look on the economic calendar. We do not have anything important today, but on Wednesday, we're expecting the FOMC meeting, and on Thursday, I'm sorry, we'll have the Bank of England decision. So those events are the most important ones, and they're in the focus of the market. And I think the major movements may occur after those events. Especially, it's important to follow what's happening on the stock markets. If we will have another sell-off on Wednesday or Tuesday, I still think that we may see some rebounds today, but it may actually continue later at the end of the week. So let's now switch to the charts. This is a daily chart, and you can see that yesterday we approached 117. We tried to break it, but it was not successful. So we see some correction in the price. Generally, we can say that the downtrend is still intact. In general, we do not have a really sharp rebounds in the price. So the downward direction, downward trend is still on, in my opinion. However, we have some strong support levels here, and also we can notice 117 is a strong level, and here below we have 1670. At the same time, this is a kind of a very subjective line, but still it can be drawn very differently. But you can feel that there is some level of strong support, which will be around this area. And I think that we won't break this level before Fed. So unless we get really hawkish comments from the Fed, I think it's not likely that we are going to break it easily. So let's also switch to the 1 hour chart. Here we can also see the situation that we return back to the channel. We can actually draw another line right here. This line describes the movement of the previous tendency. It's kind of a channel that moves in this direction, like this probably. However, yeah, generally, I would say that the downtrend is still on, but we likely to see a range trading. Let me remove some lines. I don't like when I have too many lines. So we can further see some range trading around those lines. I think the 1750 can be a quite substantial level. So probably we have to watch technical levels, 1750 and 17. What's going to happen afterwards? If we're going to break this level, we may see some further range trading. If we will break 17, we may see continuation of the trend, and we will definitely approach 116.60. But anyway, I still expect the major movements to occur after the FOMC meeting. So I give no any specific recommendations. If you prefer trading flats, you can try different strategies, which are actually good for rebound trading, like trying to trade from certain levels, like shorting from 1750 or going long with really close take profits and stop losses. So that could be one of the strategies that you can use during this trading session. But anyway, I don't expect strong movements in the market today. So that's my analysis for today. I hope you like it. Please leave your comments and questions if you have any. And do not forget to subscribe to the channel so that you do not miss the following episodes. Thank you very much for watching and have a great day.